Okay, hello everyone. So in this video, we're going to talk about Snapdragon versus Exynos and the feud that has been running between them. Now, if you're asking what is Snapdragon and Exynos, first we'll have to recap. So now you have a phone in your hand, and you would probably know that this phone is being run by processors. These processors are literally the brain of the phone. They tell the phone what to do and how to do it. Now within these processors, we have certain compartments like CPU. CPU is the brain which tells other parts of the processors what to do. And then we have the GPU, graphics processing unit, which is responsible for the visuals on your phone. If your image quality is good and if the games you're playing are smooth and looks very good, it is thanks to your GPU. And then we have the NPU, network processing unit. They are in charge for your Wi-Fi, your data connection, 4G, 5G. Mainly everyone compares Snapdragon and Exynos mainly due to one reason. It is because Galaxy devices made by Samsung have both of these variants. Now you may ask, why one device made by a company has two variants? And here's a reason why. Now if you are going to buy one of the best Samsung phones around, let's say the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, you are going to get an Exynos version if you live in Malaysia, and let's say if you live in USA, you're going to get a Snapdragon version. And the reason is Qualcomm has made a few patents called CDMA patents. It restricts Samsung from selling Exynos versions in US and China markets. And due to these patents, if Samsung does sell any of these Exynos chips in US and China markets, they will have to pay royalties. And these royalties are not cheap. They literally have to pay millions and millions. And at the scale of Samsung, they sell so many phones a year, billions of them. And they can't hope to pay this much royalties and expect themselves to get profit. And that is why, to make things easier, Samsung phone uses Qualcomm chips in the US and China territory and Exynos for its international territory. Now, by having one device with two different types of chips mean that there are some implications, and the first implication is that there will always be comparisons. Now, Snapdragon was first used by Samsung 9 years ago on the Galaxy S2, and for a long time Snapdragon was inferior to Exynos. Exynos always had the lead. For example, in the Galaxy S2, the Exynos 4 dual-core was better than Snapdragon. And following the year later, Exynos has always been better than Snapdragon when it comes to CPU. However, Snapdragon is better when it comes to GPU performance. It's always slightly higher than the Exynos. So when you're gaming on Snapdragon, you'll find that the gaming is a shade better than that on Exynos. However, when it comes to total CPU performance, the Exynos was unbeatable. They had really high Geekbench scores. They had really high scores in benchmarks. They performed very, very well. And in fact, when it came to the Galaxy S6, Snapdragon versions weren't available and Exynos versions were sold worldwide. And the reason is because at that time, the Snapdragon 810 was not available in Samsung devices because Snapdragon was overheating, meaning that the Exynos 7-octa 7420, which is the chip used in the Galaxy S6, was way better, was more efficient, less heating, and therefore it was used worldwide. And this also had implications. Since Samsung decided to use its own chip, they had to pay a few million to Qualcomm, the Snapdragon's company Qualcomm, in order to sell Galaxy S6 devices in US and China. And so that doesn't repeat, over in the Snapdragon 820 the next year, when Samsung sold the the Galaxy S7, they decided to include Snapdragon versions of the devices back again so that they will get profits, because by paying all these ludicrous amounts of royalties, Samsung cannot see any profit from the US markets, so they decided to continue with Snapdragon versions. This is mainly why we see a Snapdragon version and an Exynos version. However, when it came to S8 in the year 2017, Snapdragon finally beat the hell out of Exynos. It was better in CPU performance, it was better in GPU performance, it was even better in battery life. And this started raising concerns to people in the international markets, people in Europe, people in Africa, people in Asia. Everyone were concerned because their versions were inferior to those of the people who get the Snapdragon versions in China and US. And Snapdragon has added more territory, which means Canada is also included in this patent. So Samsung has to sell Snapdragon devices to Canada, US, and China. So hopefully many people will take Samsung's example and they will follow in its lead, making chips with their own patents. And if they do this, Qualcomm will have no choice but to reduce the price of their expensive chips, because the Exynos 1080 has an is integrated with 5nm process. It is even better than 90% of all Snapdragon chips. It's only comparable to the 865, and a mid-ranger 1080 being able to compete with a 2019 flagship, which is the 865, is just amazing. And it's also a lot cheaper, and it will be debuting on none other than Vivo's phone. With the X60, we'll be seeing the 1080 for the first time. It is actually a revolution on Samsung's part, because they finally found a way around this. If they went together with Qualcomm's devious plans, they would have to be trapped in this Snapdragon bubble for over 25 years from now on. And finally, they found a way around it, and now many people will follow Samsung and they will start producing their own patented chips. So in a way, we will start to see a balance, and we will be seeing massive improvements in 2021. It is expected that 2021 will be a year where the processor market will be seeing massive improvements, because Samsung has not been, after the Exynos 990 incident with the Galaxy S20, Samsung has realized that it has been slacking, and now they are renewing the whole process, and they know what to do right now. And hopefully many of these companies follow it, and hopefully we'll see a balance in the processor market. We'll start to see more improvements. And that's all from me. This is SR Scope on the episode of TechScope. Thank you.